So, this is Savvy Sexy Social Vlog every day in August. And tonight we're going to talk about relationships. And relationships from a little bit of a unique perspective in that I am a working psychic and I work online and I talk to or have spoken to hundreds of people, mostly women, about their relationships. And there's a common theme. So we're going to go into a little bit about those themes tonight. So I'm Alex, and this is Tea and Transformation. Okay, so let's just jump right into this. So we get a lot of questions. Almost, I would say, 97% of my business as a professional psychic is around the area of relationships. So it really does show us just how important relationships are in our lives. And in some cases, probably more important than our business, than our careers. It's almost foundational to the way that we are in the world. And so there's, people come into asking questions about their relationship and they kind of fall into two or three groups. But the largest group is a group of people who are, for all intents and purposes, single. And they may have their eye on someone, and so they want to ask questions like, is he interested in me? Does he like me? Will he call me again? Does this relationship seem like it's going to go anywhere? Is there the possibility for marriage? And that one is the one that just cracks me right up, because it's like maybe you've had one date or you've met online. You've never actually physically met one another, and you want to know whether or not this is going to lead to marriage. It seems to me like it's kind of jumping the whole process of building a relationship. That having been said, I just want to take a look at some of those issues that come up around those questions, like, will he get in touch with me again? Now, one of the things that I think is important to know is that I'm obviously, as you can see, not a spring chicken. I've been around the block once or twice. It's not my first trip to the rodeo, shall we say. And at my age, and let's just say it's 60 plus, relationships, yeah, I've been through a few. In fact, there was a time in my life when I will quite confidently confess I dated the same guy, the same loser, only in 20 different bodies. So it just was the same thing over and over and over again. It took me a long time to figure out, why isn't this working? So, it got better after that, shall we say. But anyways, so here's the big questions, is you get, a lot of times I will get a question. So you've had one date, maybe you've met online, you've been working behind the keys, and now you've kind of decided that maybe you want to have a phone call, or you've gone out for a brunch or a group thing, but there's been some contact, and now you're waiting to see whether or not you're going to hear from him. So I want to promise you that if you get the phone call at midnight on a Friday night, it's a booty call. Just remember that. And booty calls are fine. Don't get me wrong. If you want to have a booty call, go for it. But just remember, midnight phone calls are booty calls. But it's like, when will he call me? So what's interesting about that question of when will he call me is if you're the person who's waiting for the phone call, you've just given up all control in this relationship. You've given up the timeline development, where the next progression is going to be, to somebody else. And no wonder you're feeling anxious and wanting to know when he's going to call again, because you have no control. And in this day and age, if you're a woman and you can't pick up the phone and text a guy and have him not be put off at how bold you are, he's probably not the guy you want to date. If you're fine with more of a traditional relationship and he's in charge of the timeline, that's fine. But when you start wanting to know when he's going to call again and you haven't heard from him, my best advice is watch what he does. Don't listen to what he says. So if he says he's going to call you and he doesn't, that's telling you something. My other experience is, or my other advice is over the years, that if a guy says he's going to call you and you're on his mind, he's going to call you, and he's not going to wait 3 days to do it. He's going to call you within 24 hours. He's going to text you. He's going to Facebook you. He's going to do something to let you know that he's interested. And if you don't hear from him, unless you hear something like his mother had a heart attack and she's in the hospital and he's got to be there, I really think that if you're not hearing from someone that you've gone out with, that you could kind of take it as like maybe it's a no. And you can put it off to the side and continue on your way. You might be able to pick it up again at another point, but I don't think I'd be getting all wrapped up in, is he going to call me? Because if you haven't heard from him, I think you have your answer. Oh, let me see. Now, what is it? Oh, contacting him. So the other thing about contacting him is you're an adult woman. If you can't contact him and have him be okay about that, what's he going to do when he finds out you're managing 10 people in an office and you're the boss? It's like this way that we look at relationship as women, where we're still allowing relationship to define who we are as women, which is such a narrow lens to look through, given all that we do. And I just think that it's like we want to be, if we want to be valued for more than husband, children, hearth, and home, then we need to act in a manner that's consistent with that. And that means being an adult and being responsible for your level of communication. The other thing I want to talk about is how relationships end. If you go out with someone and you have a pleasant evening, but the spark just isn't there and you know it's not there, for God's sakes, tell that person. You don't have to be rude about it, but you sure as heck don't have to ghost them either. And you don't have to crumb them. A little bit here, a little less, a little less, a little less. Just be upfront. Now, I understand having difficult conversations are uncomfortable, and we don't want to make other people feel bad. But the point is that if you're working on yourself as a human being and working on your inner growth and your personal growth and developing integrity between your inner world and your outer world, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations at some point. And when you want to end a relationship, you should end a relationship. And you want to make sure that you understand. I mean, it's nice to say, oh, we're still going to be friends. But if you think about that, what you're saying is that we're still going to be friends, whether you're the guy saying you're still going to be friends to the girl or the woman, and the woman saying she's still going to be friends to the man. There's still a trace of that you're entitled to their time. Well, no, you're not. The relationship is over. Be clean about it, because we've all been dumped. We've all been dumped at one point in our life where there was no explanation. It was just like they were here one day and then the next day, poof, they were gone. And we're left questioning, was it me? Did I say something? I don't understand. All of that kind of stuff. I get it. It hurts. It's like we've invested time and our emotional life in with this. And now suddenly it's like gone. So I guess sort of in my quest for a better world, what I want to see is, if it's not working for you, say so. If you're in a relationship and your commitment is to the relationship and you're going to do what it takes to have the relationship work, then do that and assure your partner of that. Don't hold, I'm going to leave if you don't comply over someone's head. There's just no integrity in that. So it's like relationships not an easy thing. Oh, and my other personal pet peeve is when we think we're going to change them. No, you're not. No, you're not. The way that person is, the day you meet them, is the way they're going to be. And if you're not fine with that, you should move on. So that's just the things that I want to say about that. Um, and I also want to say that part of that whole thing is choosing right from the very beginning, which means you need to know what your deal breakers are. And you need to be able to know that so that you can manifest your soulmate into your life. I've done it, and it was the most glorious time in my life, and my partner passed away. It's been a while since he passed away, and I'm pretty sure I'm not ever going to find someone that's going to be the total package the way he was. So, life happens. There it is. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the things we need to be looking at in terms of manifesting the relationship we want in our life and who that other person is and what we need to be looking at. And is it worth holding out for that? Or is relationship so important to us, so defining to who we are, that it becomes any port in a storm? Anyways, lots of questions. Don't have all the answers. Got a few, but not all of them. So thank you so much. This is Alex. It's been Tea and Transformation, and we'll see you all tomorrow.